So today in my intermediate Spanish class, although I had forgotten, today was the day of the first informal talk abroad presentation. Informal meaning I didn't need to prepare anything in advance, which is good because I had forgotten about it. And because I thought that today I would have a quiz in my Spanish class. But I checked my Spanish notebook, and I saw that I actually have the quiz on the 24th, which is good. That gave me an opportunity to ask my professor today what I'm supposed to study, which is the vocabulary of Chapter 9, which is themed on celebrations. So I have to memorize terms like La Boda, which is wedding in Spanish, as well as Feliz Cumpleaños, which is happy birthday in Spanish. I plan on making flashcards to help me study the vocabulary. Put the ones I get right into one pile and the ones I get wrong into another pile. That's the current plan. This is what I've done so far to try and study for the exam. I mean the quiz. Although it was somewhat difficult for me, I put in so much mental effort in thinking of what to say that I took some hard breaths during my presentation, and I had to ask a few times what a certain word was in Spanish to the professor. In general, I think I did a pretty good job. I received a clapping ovation by class, though I think That became a tradition at the second presentation. I went third. I offered to go third because after the first presentation, I asked if I could look at the list of questions I prepared in advance for the Talk Abroad conversation. And I was granted that permission. I think I took about 8 minutes total, I would guess. I know I had to have spent several minutes on the presentation. I enjoy listening to the presentations, even though I often couldn't understand what was being said, because I think I need to work on my listening and speaking comprehension for the Spanish language. This is what we did in class today, and I just need to finish these writing parts by 11:59 p.m. I'm currently thinking of going on a walk after dinner. That'll be about 20 minutes because the run I did yesterday left me with some neck and thigh soreness. Wait, I don't think thigh is the correct term. I think it's calf soreness. Yeah, I think that's correct. I believe the thighs are higher up than the calves. Between the intermediate Spanish class and my criminal law class, I had one of my kiwi strawberry energy drinks. It tasted pretty good. In regards to my criminal law online class, we went over the discussion questions that we worked on in groups last class. I in particular was chosen to say the legal issue and the argument for the court's holding in the Irene versus California case, otherwise known as basically the Supreme Court case, or the court case that challenged California's 3 strikes law, and whether or not it's the enhanced sentences it provides, whether it violates the 8th Amendment's provision against cruel and unusual punishments. And the court's argument for its holding was that the California state legislature made a reasonable use of its discretion under a valid interest. That interest at the time being to promote public safety by incapacitating recidivist felons. The argument for the dissent is more complicated, but it goes as follows, that it basically looks at the sentences that were imposed for what is essentially a nonviolent theft. In this case, the stealing of 3 golf clubs that were worth roughly $400 each at the time. Now, this was simply stealing some golf clubs, trying to sneak out with them. No use of force or any threat to use force. So it was non-violent. It was a felony, but a non-violent felony. My dad got these when he went to take me back to school on Sunday. He told me that they're about $2 cheaper, a case of these over a case of Propel. And they taste pretty good, though I don't know if they're as healthy as Propel. For one thing, these Splash water bottles have 5 calories apiece as compared to Propel's 0 calories apiece. On Vast Wars, I played on there for quite a bit. I later went on GameHag to hear that they've removed the tasks for Vast Wars and Total Battle Tactical War Game, if I'm remembering that name correctly. They removed the tasks for those, so my current hunch is on the Magic the Gathering or Arena game. Relatively early on, last night, I also I used a walkthrough to get through the first matter of Co's game. It's supposed to be a Nor private eye point and click game that takes place in what is depicted as a crime-ridden, impoverished city. And I enjoyed reading the story. And normally, I would be worried about spoilers, but I think only 11,000 people ever completed the badge for it. I won't spoil too much, though. Basically, you meet a local mobster at a popular club, and you're eventually able to get into, at the very end, a very selective club meant for the occult, essentially. It's pretty interesting. And you do this for a case that's essentially a search and rescue operation. Or at least a rescue operation. I mean a search operation. At least a search operation. Oh, my criminal law professor is going to be sending me extra information on the State versus Miranda case, which was discussed as part of the end of class lecture that was done at the end of class on omissions. He said that the textbook talks about it, but not completely. It doesn't seem to be possible to full screen this game. For me, this currently happens once every hour. If you get to level 25, you can build a hotel which provides you with an extra income stream. I've been building different buildings to try and find new ways to earn money so I can more quickly get the M4 carbine, currently the most powerful weapon in the game. And I also have about a 9,500 defense because I currently have the winter hat equipped. What's currently the strongest piece of head clothing. I should probably work on getting that M4 carbine soon, though. I only have about 10 hours of immunity left. I don't really feel like spending diamonds to get immunity again.